everybody. Welcome back to Gaming the System, the podcast where three intersectional feminists examine gaming through a feminist lens. Today we are but two, Alex and Matt, and we're going to be talking yet again about God of War Ragnarok. Before we start, if you haven't checked out already and you want to support us, we have a Patreon page at patreon.com/gamingthesystem, and you'll get access to our now monthly special episodes. But for now, we are going to be talking about conspiracy theories and what happens next in God of War. So
Yes.
I'm sure that we both have lots of ideas and like head canon and fan fiction and ideas of that kind.
Yes.
The first thing that I want to okay, start off with a fun one, which is just in my head. I think the game developers at Sony Santa Monica have got a couple of CrossFitters amongst them because of the way that Kratos does muscle ups on the Dropnir spear. That's such a
Yeah.
CrossFit rip off and how he
Wow.
swings from things.
Oh yeah. Hadn't thought about that. That's cool. He might do CrossFit himself, you don't know.
You never know. Never know.
Training in the yard.
Yeah, those mannequins don't look very threatening.
No, they don't, do they? I remember.
Did you go through and destroy them all?
A little bit, yeah. I was too tempted. I was like, must destroy all the things. It's like when you find pots or boxes, I have to destroy all the boxes. It's like a weird compulsion.
I love that he can just roll through them.
Don't you get like an achievement, like not an achievement, or even a trophy? You get like because you have all these different challenges that you can do from Ratatoska. I think smashing boxes might be one of them, and you get XP or the other thing that you use for upgrading stuff.
Hacksilver.
Hacksilver, yes, you get that if you do lots. I think it was for smashing like 150 boxes or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But there's all sorts of those little tasks that you kind of trigger if you start doing it, which I think is very cool as well.
It took me till I didn't realise that those tasks were set by Ratatoska until like the last 5 hours of the game when I started reading it, reading what they wrote down and go, oh yeah, that's his different squirrel pots.
That's right.
Speaking.
They're very funny as well. There's one, the angry one, that's just like, smash boxes, they're stupid. Just like, you're like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. It's very funny. It's very good.
Do any conspiracy theories jump to mind?
Well, my main one revolves around the artifacts that you can find in Midgard, which all allude to like different civilizations and different kind of mythologies present apparently at the same time or at previous times. So I got very excited. I love collecting the artifacts anyway because they're just really cool because I'm that kind of nerd. But these ones were tie-ins to particular ancient civilizations. So the obvious most exciting one for me was the Ankh, which is the Egyptian symbol for life, which is like a little cross but then with a little circle at the top. And they talked a little bit about this civilization from, I think they said it was like, I don't know if they named Africa, but it was like from the southeast, and said about how they had gods who were half animal, half human, and lots of anthropomorphic gods. Amir writes all of these entries in the journal, which is very cool as well, because he's like obviously the smartest man alive, quote unquote. So he would probably know a lot about lots of different mythologies at the time. There was another one that was like a Mayan, something I forget. I think it was like a face, and then there was, I can't remember what it was, but it was the bodily form of a woman. So you had like really large boobs and a tummy.
Oh yeah. That's
That's
like
a museum in like Denmark or somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I think we googled it at the time. And then there was I think a couple of Greek things. So like a lyre, Lear, and which apparently Kratos complained but refuses to, which I found was hilarious. And another Greek thing, which I can't remember. And then there were lots of things from the East, which I think alludes to like Asia or kind of that sort of region. There was one that looked a lot like the sword/key from Uncharted. Did you notice that one?
No.
In the second one where it's like the dagger, and you have to
Mm.
put it in and to, like reveal the map and stuff. There was one that looked a lot like that. There were a lot of knife-like objects within that collection of artifacts, but the majority came from the East. So there's a lot of theories about whether that might be the setting for the next
Mm.
games, and a lot of people saying that Sony Santa Monica tends to move away from what's expected, and of course everyone's expecting Egypt. I would be incredibly happy with that if that was the case, as you know, because Origins is probably one of my most favorite Assassin's Creed games. Um, and that in moving away from the expected, they might go to somewhere like Asia and look at like Hinduism or something like that. But then I think there were some theories about whether it might be an active religion or if it's like a now dead mythology, if that makes sense, because of course Norse mythology isn't particularly active right now, obviously, unless you read Belinda Blinked, which is a reference to another podcast I listened to. And then, of course, the Greek pantheon isn't particularly active now so much. So
And it's
there were some
already been
questions
destroyed
around
by
that.
Kratos.
Yes, it has. Yeah, he's killed everybody, so it's just not there. Um, yeah, so there were some questions around that, and then I think I watched something. I can't remember if it was the game director or somebody else dropped a little hint and said, if you pay attention to the poses that Tyr is doing when you find him in the realms after you've freed him from prison in Niflheim, that will give you a clue as to where we're going next. And
Mm.
he was doing a lot of yoga, a lot of like Tai Chi. Um, at one point, he was just staring at the sky, so I don't know if that was a clue or not. Um, but apparently, the direction in which he was staring was north. So people are like going mad for these
Yeah,
kinds of
yeah.
theories. But interesting little clues there, some of which I feel might be red herrings. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on those, Matt.
Yeah, I think that the next. It's so hard to tell. If I was to split the two sides, I'd say because Sony Santa Monica have over the last year, they have been hiring new people in literally every position that they've got at the company, which made me think that they've brought God of War as it is to a close, and everyone's gone,
Mm.
all right, we're going to move on and go somewhere else, or they're doubling the size of their studio. One half is going to be making the next Kratos game. The other half is going to be making the next Atreus
Mm.
Angraboda game,
Yeah.
where we learn about who blew the horn in the
Yes,
first
please.
one. For God's sake,
I'd love to know. Oh, that's going to infuriate me for some time now.
4
Yeah.
years at least.
Mm. Mm.
It's devastating that we didn't find out about that.
I think it's probably just Atreus doing it for
Yeah,
himself. I don't know.
yeah, and I thought for a second it might have been Kratos blowing Galahorn because
Mm.
you can hear it
Oh,
throughout the
yeah.
realm.
Yeah.
But
That was a different noise, wasn't it?
mm,
I think. I don't know.
and and thinking that's the question I want the answer to the
Mm.
most.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So what I expect will be happening is that they're going to make an Atreus. The next game will be Atreus is the main character
Mm.
going on a completely new quest. But I don't know how they would get Kratos to somewhere else, because Kratos, it feels like he's found his peace.
Yeah,
He doesn't want
yeah.
anything
And
else.
in a way, you could kind of see with the final shrine door where he was a statue and being worshipped and stuff, that kind of implies that he stays where he is. But then I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I just, yeah, that final panel on the
Mm.
door, that's, and just how emotional he
Yeah,
was when
yeah.
he touched it,
Mm.
just beautiful. Um, what other ones have I thought? And I think Sindri's going to be the sort of the Freya to
Oh,
Atreus
yeah,
in
yeah.
that one, because playing through the first time Atreus and Sindri go off to go and find Freya,
Mm.
that's when Sindri tells Atreus the truth about Brock,
Yeah.
and that felt such an odd
Yeah, I almost missed
thing.
it because I was talking over it.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, what did you say? About souls? Yeah, I
so that
had
was.
to, yeah. I almost missed it because they kind of sort of shoo it in after a little bit of combat, don't they?
Hmm.
I think.
Yeah, there's just walking and that comes up and go, oh, that sounds quite heavy
Yeah.
and unusual. And then when Sindri says the reason he did it, and he
Mm.
says, I can't be alone. And that just went, oh dear, because the difference between him and Freya's out in the world doing a million things. She's a god,
Yeah.
and Sindri is just this lonely dwarf,
Yeah.
and and he lost everything.
Mm.
That was literally him losing everything.
Yeah.
And I think he, when he goes to Brock's funeral, and Kratos helps him push the boat into the water,
Yeah.
and he gives Kratos a look, and you can tell. I think he forgives Kratos. He
Yeah.
doesn't blame Kratos, and then he goes and disappears. And
Mm.
I just think there's a lot there that we don't know that what that's going to turn him into, but
No.
it's not going to be good.
I thought the shoulder shrug that he did when Kratos put his hand on his arm, he was like, no. I was like, no, you're so close. You
Mm,
must accept the love. But he didn't, and it was horrible. I was like, no, it's not going to be happy. I thought just then it might turn,
mm,
but he then walks off on his own and almost limps off because he's so sad. Um, and then pop. I love that, by the way. That's some kind of
mm.
side comment, but the way the dwarves appear and disappear is very cool. Um, yeah, but no, that was a sad moment, definitely. And I have no. It's the fact that you're left having absolutely no idea where Sindri has gone or what he's doing.
Yeah, because he's not gone home.
No, no. I even went straight back to the house to just be like, "Is he here?" Because I wanted to find him immediately. Um, and it's unsettling not knowing. That's something they've left for us to kind of ponder over, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, they've just set it up so. I'm really pleased with how they've set it up.
Mm,
These
yeah.
unanswered questions, but none of it takes away from the great big. This is Ragnarok. This is the end. It's not just a where like TV shows they spend the last 20% of it going, oh, we're just setting up for the next one.
Yeah.
This one is
Yeah.
just tiny little bits,
hmm Yeah.
just peppered in as we
Do
go
you have
along.
any thoughts on the setting that it's going to be, like the world or mythology that it's
I,
going to
I I can't even
cover?
begin to
It's
guess.
anyone's guess, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? To be honest, I honestly think that a lot of what's in the game is probably a red herring, but because they'll want it to be a nice surprise, won't they? I think if I was them, I'd want it to be a surprise.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
just this is one of those things where you go. It seems like when they said, right, we're having to push the schedule back even more, and it feels like the vast majority of the fan base went, take all the time you need, guys. We'll just do your thing, and we'll be here
Mm.
when it's ready.
Yeah.
And that's how I can sit back and know I don't need to worry about what they're going to make, because there's things I could never come up with, and so I don't. And they go, just relax, guys. We've
Yeah.
got this. Just relax until the next one comes out. Um, what else was there? Who do you think Jormungandr is? Whose soul do you think Loki put into Jormungandr?
I don't know is the answer to that question. But it's interesting though, because obviously there was this theory while the first game was out that it was Atreus. Some people thought it was Atreus or something. And in the mythology, Jormungandr is Angrboda's and Loki's child, which
Mm,
in a sense it is, because they kind of were both there when it was created, when Jormungandr was created, which I thought was a cool touch. And also, who else? Oh, Fenrir is one of their children apparently as well.
mm.
Um, and in some ways, you could definitely argue that he came from Atreus, because Atreus was the one that stabbed the soul into Gorn. Um, and then I think they had a third child, which was Hel,
Oh, really?
um, which I think is possibly going to be the replacement for the massive bird
We
that
forgot the
exists in
massive
Hell.
bird.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
god! It wants to retire.
yeah. So I think that is going to be the replacement, but I don't know what it is yet. But that's what I think. But yeah,
How did we forget the
I
massive bird?
know. I was a bit disappointed when I'd closed up all the realm tears, went back, and then she was like, "Yep, I don't care. Okay, bye." And then you just had to leave again. And I was like, "Oh, nothing. We get nothing for closing up all of Gorn's realm tears." That was a very cool side mission, though, closing those up. Mm. And the is it a raven? Another raven? She's basically a giant
Great big bird,
black, or
black
is it a
bird. Yeah.
crow? A black feathered bird, but it's quite menacing and quite scary, and the voice is very scary as well.
Hmm.
But it's very cool. Yeah, I wonder what she wants to do in her retirement.
What is there to do for
Her bird.
for a bird like that?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Um,
Can't be a very
oh,
interesting job, but I guess she just watches everyone in hell. Is that all she does? Don't know.
I'm sure she. I'm sure. I wish we could have her on.
I feel
Maybe
like we
she.
need a mini series that explains her job, and like her put out a job specification or something.
Um, I think it's possible that Jormungandr is Fey.
Oh, and how do you come to that conclusion?
So I have my theories, and then
Yeah.
as I've been playing through, I see bits and bobs that make me go, maybe. So first off, Atreus finds the first marble that he finds inside one of the shrines. He just finds it sat there, and um, so that was me thinking, oh, so that's a soul of a giant in there. Okay,
Mm.
I wonder who that is. And then going to the light of Alfheim, um, Atreus says that he can't hear Mother in there anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's possible that his mother somehow made it into one of these marbles, because it doesn't seem very like her to die and then that be it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
And
think it must be a giant that we know, because why else would we have any interest in that? I think it must be connected in some way to a giant that we know. So that makes sense. Yeah. Did you have other bits you wanted to explain?
oh yes, oh yes.
Yes.
So the first thing uh, the world serpent says to you when you say the mother's dead,
Mm,
and it says, "I feel the pain of your loss," which means there's something there. And you go,
mm.
and you go, oh, maybe I feel it because I died. And no one
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
the pain of their own loss more than the dead person.
yeah.
And just the so yeah, the marble and the oh yes, so the marble, the not being able to see her, feel her in the light.
Mm,
Kratos still hears her song when he
yeah,
sees the light, though,
yeah.
which is interesting. But another bit, so we find so the core relationship that we know about the serpent is that he hates Thor.
Hateful. Yes.
Thor and the world serpent, they hate each other, which is why they fought so hard that one got sent back in time. Um, and when we go through Vanaheim, the second half of Vanaheim, and we learn about Faye, we know that Faye
Mm,
fought Thor as
yeah.
hard as Kratos fought him.
And that's why he said in the battle with Kratos, when the lightning forms, this seems familiar.
Mm. And it struck me, well, why would it only seem familiar? You remember he was a drunk throughout
Mm,
all of his rampages,
yeah.
so he was probably shit faced, and he was going off on a rampage. And Faye stood up and fucking went for him, and they fought so hard that they fought to that sort of stalemate. So it would make sense that that level of hatred, and that's an entire another conspiracy theory. I want to know why she fought Thor then,
Mm,
why she hated him so much. But that feels like that's another parallel that can't be ignored.
no, that's a very cool theory. I'll think about that when I next play through.
Mm,
Because I'm
yeah.
sure we have a look at her marble, don't we? And it's broken.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, yeah. When Atreus and Engelberger are chatting about the whole bag of marbles,
Uh,
I think it is, and they find Laufey and it's cracked, so there's nothing inside it. But technically, it could be because you've already used it on Jormungandr, or is that before or after that bit? Can't remember. I may have smashed your theory into pieces there.
no, it's just there's another bit I was thinking. Well, how did her soul get from her body into
Mm,
a marble in Jotunheim? When they spread her ashes, her soul goes off
yeah,
out of the ashes.
yeah,
So I think it's
that's
snuck
true.
into one of the marbles, and
It
now it's
may well
inside
have
the
done.
world serpent.
Like one of the other marbles that had a different name,
Yeah,
perhaps.
because she went
Yeah,
by a different name in life as well.
yes. No, they definitely look at Laufey and it's cracked. I remember. And then she's like, "I'm sorry," and he gets all sad and doesn't want the responsibility anymore. I remember. I think that's what happens anyway. I'll have to play it again and see.
I also think that Laufey is going to play what in whatever happens in the next game. I think she's going to. We're going to explore her because the actress who plays her, Deborah Ann Woll, is a big time famous actress who's been in
Mm,
loads of things,
yeah.
and it seems like they wouldn't put her in such a small role. They wouldn't give her so little to do
Mm,
if they didn't have bigger plans for her.
yeah.
And I just think with that, her fighting Thor, I want to know all about her.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much more we don't know. It's kind of raised more questions playing this game than not. But all mysteries to be hopefully found in future. We shall see.
I think I've got one more
Mm,
about Heimdall.
mm,
So when we find him, so we've said he's so extra and
mm.
fed up of everyone and just because he just full, he just can't shut out. And I thought that it's so
Mm.
odd that he's sat on top of the wall ready for Atreus as soon as he
Yeah,
sticks his hand over the ledge. And I thought perhaps
yeah,
Heimdall probably spends a lot of time on the wall because it's the only place where there aren't any other people.
mm,
So
yeah,
he can sit up there and just have the only thoughts in his head be his own.
mm.
And the only
That's a
place he
good
can find
point.
some peace.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I also think that it's possible that he can't read Odin. I expect that Odin's the only person that he can't read, which is why he follows him.
Yeah. Do you think Odin's like employing some power to kind of block Heimdall's mind reading, or not mind reading, just reading abilities?
I think probably just that Odin is just unreadable.
Mm.
He's so skilled at manipulating people
I don't
that
know how he keeps track of all his manipulations. He must have like 5 different diaries or something to keep notes. Because I'd get very confused if I was him. Start calling people. Well, he did call people the wrong names, but all sorts. Yeah, he must have some kind of planner or something.
Odin's so scary.
Mm,
And
yeah.
the sort of the depth of what a monster he is are so like easy to easy to miss, easy to gloss
Mm,
over.
yeah.
And
I
you
think
think,
we unravel more each time we talk about it, don't we? Yeah. Because it's just like everything's so well layered, and yeah, I could probably play the game another half a dozen times and spot something new each time, I reckon. Is that what you're finding on
oh yeah,
your how many playthroughs have you had now?
this is just my second
Your
one.
second, yeah. Yeah. Mm, definitely one for replayability.
Absolutely, and I can't recommend enough playing it on high contrast mode when you play it
Mm,
again because it's like I've
yeah.
said, it's an entirely different game. It's amazing.
Mm.
Um, to bring this to a close, are there any other theories that you have on top of your head?
No, not that I can think of. Only the ones about the possible next setting. Yeah,
We'll see, and hopefully we'll be talking about at some point in the future, whenever it comes out, we will be back talking about it in excruciating detail.
I'm sure we
Uh,
will.
yes, we shall. Everyone, thank you for watching or listening. You know where to find us every Thursday at 7 p.m. We've been Alex and Matt. Bye bye.